I ended up writing that car off twice. First time I hit a tree, and then the second time I wrote it off, and this was what killed it, I drove it for a Ford.
This video is brought to you by Emanual Online. Emanual Online create and provide online manuals for all sorts of cars, not just BMW, and this super detailed one contains my E85 Z4. As somebody with extremely little mechanical knowledge, I feel like I might now be able to tackle some maintenance and repairs myself. Looking through some of the pages of instructions in this manual, I can't help but wish that I had access to this when I had to repair my diesel valve or change my grills, install my cup holder, amongst many other things. Anyway, let me know if you'd be interested in me creating a video where I use the Emanual Online to modify or repair something on my BMW Z4. To learn more or pick one of these manuals up for yourself, click the top link in my description, and thank you very much for supporting the channel.
Hey guys, it's Joel and welcome back to the channel and welcome to a special episode. Today I'm going to be answering lots of your questions. I realise it's been a little while since we've had a sort of one-on-one, and in the past few months on the channel I've reviewed some really interesting cars and filmed some different videos. So I think there'll be a few different sorts of questions you guys might want to ask that I haven't obviously answered yet. So I thought this would be a good opportunity anyway to answer some of your questions. So I did a post yesterday on YouTube on my community page, and got lots of questions from you guys, so that's great. And then also on Instagram, so and Twitter. So if you don't follow me on any of those platforms, do make sure to go ahead and do that now. All the links are in the description. And of course, if you're not subscribed here on YouTube, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, because it does mean you will see all of my videos come up on the feed when they're uploaded, which is I think twice a week at the moment, so we're doing quite well. Anyway, enough of me talking, let's get into some of your questions. Right, we're going to start with Instagram then, and a question from Imran Pozda. Which would you have, the new Z4 or its coupe cousin, the Supra, and why? Really good question, interesting question as well, because obviously they're pretty much the same car. One of them's a convertible, one of them's a coupe. I would personally go for the Supra. I watch the Stradman a lot. He's a YouTuber based in Utah in America, and he has got a Supra, and he's already modifying it and blah-de-blah-de-blah. But I think long story short, the Supra looks fantastic. In my opinion, better looking than the Z4. I just can't get over the front end of the later generation. It looks a little bit like a Kia. So yeah, no, in answer to your question, I would have the Supra, predominantly based on its looks, and I do like the coupe sort of side of it as well. DB06AMG has asked me on Instagram, when are you buying your M6? Oh gosh, this, yeah. I don't know. My plan is to buy one next spring. Plans can obviously change. It 100% depends on two things. One, obviously my financial situation, and not just being able to afford the car and buy one, but also once I've done a lot more research, sort of having money in the back pocket for inevitable repairs and maintenance. So I don't know. But I'm planning next spring at the moment, unless, you know, I change my mind about it or I buy something else. I don't know for sure, but that is the plan, is to buy one next year, to have it through the summer, do a road trip in it, and then maybe sell it towards the end of next year. But I don't know. I really can't say for sure, even though it's my own doing, because I've been teasing it for so long. It's Only Aaron on Instagram has said, if you went JDM, what car would you have? Love your vids. Thank you very much for the compliment. What car would I have if I went Japanese? I guess in this category, the obvious choice is the Honda S2000. I did that soft top showdown with JM on Cars recently. That was a really cool car. Although I didn't drive it, I very much got a sense of what it's like to drive from passenger in it, and it's a cool car. So I'd probably go for an S2000. Funnily enough, I had a Mark II MX-5 before I had the Z4, and even before I started this YouTube channel. So I do have a soft spot for JDM, but one that's just popped into my head, and something that I genuinely want to buy anyway, is a Nissan 370Z. I've always liked those cars. I think in the right spec they look pretty cool as well. Ben Wall 1992 says, did your car already come with the stereo? If not, how did you fit it? Short answer to this, yeah, it did. It came with the stereo already. I wouldn't know how to fit it. I know that they've obviously taken the old fascia out and put this new head unit in. I would imagine it's something you could take to Halfords and they would do it for you. I don't know how to do it on myself, unfortunately, but yeah, it already came with the stereo, which is good because it means I can use Bluetooth and things like that. Day Mystery Machine. Or damn mystery, I see what you've done there. Would you consider buying a brand new Z4? No, I wouldn't consider it. I would maybe consider buying a brand new Z4 in 10 years when they're £12,000-13,000, but I wouldn't consider buying a new one because I think there's just so much depreciation to be had in them. I'd consider leasing a 2019 Z4 if I could get some good deal and it meant it could just be, you know, but it's not going to happen. And I'm not saying that because, oh, I hate the car. I'm saying that because I think generally buying new cars, you can lose a fair bit of cash, but I understand why people do it. I'd love to be able to afford to buy new cars. I just can't afford to do that. So no, I wouldn't consider it personally, although if I had unlimited funds, 100%. Prevail Management says, will you be hosting another Z4 or BMW Meet in the near future? No, I won't be. I probably host it. I don't want to say never. I can be quite spontaneous with these things, but I'm not planning to host another one this year. Obviously, as you can see, probably from this window and the noise of the rain hitting the roof, we've well and truly been hit by winter, or autumn at least, in the UK now. So I'm not planning on doing another meet this side of the new year. For that reason, I'd 100% though, would love to host another meet. That meet we did back in, I can't remember when it was now, maybe start of August, was incredible. It was awesome. It was so, I felt so lucky to have so many people turn up, and it really, you know, although I'm always talking to cameras and making these videos, it really is quite spectacular when real people turn up that watch your videos. It sort of makes it, I don't know, it makes it seem a little bit more real. But anyway, I'm rattling on again. Yes, I would definitely host another BMW Meet, but it probably won't be, most likely won't be this year. Becca, or Rebecca Ann on Instagram, has asked me, if the Z4 didn't exist, what car do you think you'd be driving? Good question, actually. I'm trying to take it back now to when I was first looking into the Z4. The 986 Boxster was definitely a contender. Do you know, I wish I'd been documenting it at the time, because I can't really remember why I ended up going for a Z4. I think, you know what, I remember watching a Fifth Gear episode with the Boxster, maybe the RX-8 and the Z4, and I sort of just found the Z4 was the best value for money at the time, and I think ended up with one of these. But if it wasn't for this, I'd probably be in a Porsche Boxster, or maybe a Mark 2.5 MX-5, because that would be the natural evolution from the Mark II that I had before. So good question, but yeah, probably one of those two. Mr. Bergenland has asked, what do I do for a living? I work for a video production company, which is probably hard to believe sometimes with the quality of my terrible videos. But I do. I work for a video production company. We specialise in corporate videos. Never really super... Well, I mean, sometimes it's exciting, actually. We film all sorts of stuff. But yeah, it's professional video production companies who is my day job. E85 Rich has said, would I do a secondary cat delete for even more noise? Interesting question. I have been thinking about this recently. Although my car with a back box delete is my daily and it's already obnoxious, I have been thinking about doing a res delete, which I think there's a middle resonator sort of under my gearbox here. And I think, yeah, you can obviously remove that legally in the UK and it makes it even more loud. I've been thinking about that, so the answer is yes, I would do one. Whether or not I do it, I don't know. Perhaps if I know for a fact I'm going to move on from this Z4 into something else, in the last few months maybe I'll do it for a laugh, but we'll see. And you know, no plans to get rid of this are solid at the moment, and no plans to do the res delete or secondary cat delete. I presume by secondary cat delete you mean res, because there's a secondary sort of back box, if you like. Yes, I'd consider it though. Matt's Webb says, what was your first car? My first car was a Y registration, so 2001 Vauxhall Corsa. It was a 1.2 1.2 Comfort Edition in blue. It was very cool. I loved it. I ended up writing that car off twice. First time I hit a tree. I went a little bit fast around a corner. I sort of halfway around the corner realised I'm going too fast for this corner. Let off, which is not what you're meant to do. Ended up sliding up a bank into a tree. That car was completely binned, but I paid for it to be repaired because I didn't want to take it for insurance and pay for premiums and whatever. So that was repaired. And then the second time I wrote it off, and this was what killed it, I drove it for a Ford. Not a car Ford, but a natural Ford. Lots of lying water in a sort of dip. I drove through it too fast and never came out. So that car is dead. King Cameron 023 says, what's the worst thing about owning a convertible? I guess not being able to have the roof down. I'll tell you what the worst thing is. This might just be me, but sometimes you've had a bad day and you just want a bit of privacy. And I don't know if it's people look at you more because the car's a soft top, but even with the roof up, I do feel like I'm in a little bit of a, I don't know, what's the word? A fish tank in this car sometimes. I don't know. Maybe I'm being silly because a coupe, it really makes no difference. But sometimes I feel like I just want a big Range Rover or something with blacked out windows and not a convertible where everyone can see me. Maybe that's the most annoying thing for me. I don't know. Right, now I'm going to switch across to YouTube and answer your questions there. Alex B has asked, how often have you searched for any M6s for sale after your drive with one? You know what? Not that much, because the market is pretty, well, no one's buying them. So every time I check, the same sort of cars are there. Maybe every now and then one or two trickle in. I've got my eyes on a couple which have just been there for about 6 months. So I've not been checking that much. But yeah, certainly after driving one, I've not sort of stopped looking because it's made me want one even more. Django has said, did you ever regret that you bought the Z4 or would you prefer a new model? Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, I would love to have, be able to just sort of get a newer model as well. I do love the E85 because it's quite raw and Visceral's a bit extreme, but it's a nice car to drive. And you do feel relatively connected with it. But you know, in an ideal world, I'd have maybe a newer Z4 or something else that's better to drive on days like today, or just to the office. But no, I mean, in terms of do I regret buying the Z4? Absolutely not. I think I've had a lot of fun with this car already. I really love the fact that obviously I've been able to grow a YouTube community, and lots of people have also bought Z4s and now share the same enthusiasm as me for this car. So I certainly don't regret buying one. The time will come eventually to move on and get something else, but it will obviously always have a special place, this car being my sort of first proper car that I launched this YouTube channel, which I hope goes on for years and years with. So absolutely no regret buying one. No, not at all. Is the Z4 easy to maintain, and how many miles per gallon? Asked by Jevron Avril. Is the EZ4 easy to maintain? Yeah, I mean, I haven't done too much maintenance on myself, but I did once replace an engine component, and I wish actually I had the sponsor of today's video to help me with that. But I did manage to work it out for myself, and I changed the diesel valve, which is an engine component essentially, by myself. And I'm not a mechanic by any stretch of the imagination, so I'd say the Z4 is easy to maintain. And are they heavy drinkers? How many miles per gallon? I've talked about this a fair amount. My long-term average, if I look right now over maybe 3,000 miles, is about 31 miles per gallon. So I think that's pretty good. If I drive 200 miles up the motorway to go somewhere and I'm driving really economically, I can easily get over 40. It's not that difficult to get over 40 miles per gallon. So maybe by today's standards, yeah, they are pretty bad on fuel when you can get stuff with like 80, 90 miles per gallon. But I think the trade-off for a 3-litre naturally aspirated inline 6, 40 mpg is pretty damn good. Daniel Thomas has asked me a really interesting question actually. He says, will you stay with BMW? Has the Soft Top Challenge, Soft Top Showdown series made you want to try something different? Maybe the Boxster, for example, or the new MX-5. Thank you from New Zealand. Well, thank you, Daniel, for watching from New Zealand. That's amazing to have a viewer all the way over there. Really good question. Really good question. I think my honest answer right now is no. I'll probably get something other than BMW. I've had this one car, for over 2 years. So I'm not saying that I'm bored of it, but I really do like I really do in every other aspect of my life. I like to change up. You know, I like to switch. So certainly when it comes to cars, you know, I'm still young, but you only live once, and you've got to drive everything you can possibly drive. So I think realistically, yes, I would like to move on from BMW for my next car. But that's not to say that will happen, because I might end up buying a sort of Z4 SI as my new daily or something. But from the soft top showdown, at least, yes, it has made me think about different models. I really liked the S2000, and I really like the Boxster in particular. Spending time with those cars and comparing them has certainly made me think about other options to maybe just another Z4. DKO has asked, how well does the Z4 handle in wet, rainy conditions? Relevant question given the weather today. I'll be totally honest with you, I am a cheapskate and I have got budget tyres on the rear, but I've actually got good tyres, sort of, I think they're Goodyears on the front, both non-run flats. So obviously, that's not particularly advised, and that doesn't make for the best handling characteristics. So with that said, I'll be totally honest, it's a little bit nervous in the wet. I'm not actually 100% confident in the car around sort of corners at speed in these sorts of conditions. But I know that's A, because I haven't upgraded my suspension, B, because I've got budget tyres in the rear and good tyres on the front. That'll upset the balance somewhat, and obviously having budget tyres, they're not going to grip very well at the back. So I'm sure if you had Michelin Pilot Sports all round, it'd be a lot better. Their handling characteristics are absolutely the same in the wet. It's just I know the tyres potentially aren't up to it. That's my own doing. One thing I will say is, obviously, if you turn traction control off, it's very nice and easy to get the back out. So I do enjoy that in the winter. And actually, having budgets makes that easier. So that's the main reason I have budgets, because I know I'm going to burn quite a lot of rubber quite quick. So yeah, it handles okay in the wet. It's probably just not very good in my car because, you know, I'm a cheapskate. Okay, guys, well, that is it. I've got, you know what? I had so many questions from you guys. I can't get through all of them now. I really wanted to. But I realise I think I've been filming for probably half an hour or so now, and I'll have to cut some of it anyway. So I don't want to answer too many more. I don't want to waste too many of your guys' time, because I realise it's precious. There's lots of YouTube channels out there as well. I know how it is when I'm watching YouTube. I lose my attention span pretty quick. So I don't want to keep you for too long. But nonetheless, I really hope if you're a supporter of the channel, you found it interesting to sort of hear a few of my opinions on certain things, and for me to keep you in the loop and what's going on. And also, I just want to say a big thanks to Emanual's Online for making this video possible today. If you guys do support the channel and do want to help out, it really, really helps me out if you go and check out Emanual's Online and see what they're all about, because I've been quite impressed with the detail and the level of stuff that their manuals contain. And of course, if you guys want and you're going to find it interesting, I'd really happily consider doing a full video with the e-manual and maybe fixing or modifying something on this very Z4 myself. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Of course, if you have any other questions that haven't been answered in today's video, my life is a constant Q&A. You can just comment down below and ask me anything, and I do pretty much get back to everyone in YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys very, very soon.